Are you thinking about buying your first Mac or upgrading from an older model? The new 2020 Mac Mini is a great option, and it's the cheapest Mac you can get. Here's everything you need to know in under 5 minutes. First up is your base configuration options. When you order a Mac Mini, and if you want one of the new models with an M1 chip, you get to choose from one of two options. Both these are very similar, the only difference being the hard drive size. For $699 you can get an M1 Mac Mini with a 256GB solid state drive. Or for $200 more, you can get a 512GB solid state drive. Everything else is identical for both these models. Also, when you order either one of these options, you can get them with a limited number of upgrades. Since none of the components are user upgradable, you have to decide before you order. The most important upgrade is random access memory. For both models, you have the option of upgrading to 16GB of RAM for an extra $200. If you're a power user or enjoy multitasking, upgrading to 16GB of memory is well worth the money. Another upgrade option is internal storage. You can configure either one of these Macs to up to 2TB of internal storage, but it will cost you. Upgrading to the biggest solid state drive will cost you an extra $800. If you want to save some money, you can always go with a considerably cheaper external drive. These may not be as fast as the internal drives, but at least it's an option. Next up is connectivity. Both models come with the exact same ports on the back. You get a gigabit Ethernet port, two Thunderbolt USB-C ports, an HDMI port to connect to a display, two USB Type-A ports, and a headphone jack. If you plan on using this Mac to edit video or photos, there's no memory card slot, so you will need a dongle. When you get a Mac Mini, inside the box you get the Mac Mini itself and the power cord. That's all you get, so to actually use it, you need a few more things. First, you'll need a display. You can use the HDMI port or one of the USB-C ports to connect your Mac Mini to a display. The HDMI port supports displays with up to 4K resolution, or you can use a USB-C port to connect the display with up to 6K resolution. You can also connect one display to a USB-C port and one to the HDMI port for a dual screen setup. The display I use is the PD2700U from BenQ. It's a 4K display and it's amazing for video and photo editing. I'll have it linked in the description. You'll also need to buy a keyboard and a mouse or a trackpad to go with your Mac Mini. You can either connect these to the USB-A ports on the back of your Mac Mini, or you can get a Bluetooth keyboard and a mouse to free up some of the limited ports on the Mac Mini for other accessories. Next up is performance. The new 2020 Mac Minis use Apple's own M1 chip with integrated memory, an 8-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine. The performance of these M1 chips is amazing. I tested the base model Mac Mini with only 8GB of RAM against a much more expensive 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro with an upgraded graphics card and 32GB of RAM. I ran some tests editing video in Final Cut Pro and was blown away by the results. The $700 Mac Mini performed just as good, and sometimes even better, than my 16-inch MacBook Pro that cost more than 4 times as much. I made a video with all the tests I ran, which I'll link in the description. If you use a Mac for video editing, make sure to check it out. And last, let's talk about app compatibility. First, let's look at universal apps. Every app that comes with your Mac, and every app made by Apple, is optimized for the M1 chip. Apps like Pages, Keynote, and Final Cut Pro show just how amazing the performance can be with the new M1 chip. Some third-party apps like Photoshop or Premiere Pro that haven't transitioned to universal versions yet also run seamlessly on your new Mac using Rosetta 2. This is basically a virtual environment that allows you to run apps that have yet to be optimized for Apple's M1 chip. Until all these apps transition to universal versions, you may come across a few bugs, but for the most part, you shouldn't have any issues. And for the first time ever, you can run your favorite iPhone and iPad apps directly on your Mac. That means more games to play, more content to watch, and more apps for all the things you love to do. And the best part is all these iPhone and iPad apps you love work and behave like true Mac apps. Overall, the M1 Mac Mini, or any of the other M1 Macs, are amazing machines. You get a huge leap in performance that nothing even comes close to at a fraction of the cost. And as developers update their apps to universal versions, it's only going to get better. Like I said at the start of this video, if you're looking to get a new Mac or upgrade an older model, any of the M1 Macs are a great option. If you found this video helpful, let me know by hitting the like button or in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next week.